of belief, you know, that the universe is absurd and therefore nothing means anything. Within that, oh, I've just lost my train of thought. In an absurdist worldview where nothing means anything, Oscar Wilde's aestheticist principles really have room to take root. This idea of the absurd, not just where people behave in these bizarre or unaccountable ways, but where the universe is bizarre and unaccountable, right? Like, you can't hold the universe accountable for the way that it treats you because there is no guiding logic. There's no rhyme or reason. It's like this worldview really kind of heralds the death of God in the public mindset. And it takes root in the modernist period in the wake of the world wars, especially the First World War, and then more intensively after it happens again in the Second World War. The trauma that Europe and the Western developed world experiences through the world wars gives rise to this tremendously disillusioned worldview characterized by the absurd. And in the modernist period, it means something a little bit different, and it displays itself differently from the way that it does here in the Victorian period in Oscar Wilde's work. And yet you can see how the feelings of alienation from nature contribute a sense of meaningless, or an absurdity that's produced from being unmoored from nature, right? A person's guiding relations are only with society, like with the contrived structures of society. So the absurdism of Victorian manners, Victorian social drama, shows up here in The Importance of Being Earnest as a precursor to the modernist absurdism that we will explore down the road. Another term that I wanted to throw at you, kind of as we're looking at The Importance of Being Earnest, is the term burlesque. You may have an idea of what burlesque means, and it does mean that, but in literature it means something else. This is the 9th edition of a Glossary of Literary Terms. I'm trying to think. It's the Abrams-Hartham Glossary of Literary Terms. I just can't remember if this is a Norton publication or not. Anyway, I can put the text information up on Populi, but I wanted to read you their explanation of what the burlesque is, because it's something going on a lot in The Importance of Being Earnest, and it's in some way kind of a tool or a feature of the absurd, or it can be a tool of bringing a quality of absurdism to a situation or a character or a piece of art. So, burlesque has been succinctly defined as an incongruous imitation. That is, burlesque imitates the manner, the form and style, or else the subject matter of a serious literary work or a literary genre, in verse or in prose, but it makes the imitation amusing by a ridiculous disparity between the manner and the matter. The burlesque may be written for the sheer fun of it. Usually, however, it is a form of satire. The butt of the satiric ridicule may be the particular work or the genre that is being imitated, or else the subject matter to which the imitation is incongruously applied, or often both of these together. So, synonyms include burlesque, parody, travesty, sometimes applied interchangeably. I will post that definition on Populi so that you can look at it a bit more closely. But the question that I wanted to ask in regards to burlesque is, what or who is the butt of Oscar Wilde's burlesque humor in this piece, in The Importance of Being Earnest? Now, I should say, burlesque is not always an incongruous imitation of a literary work or genre. It can be an incongruous imitation of a serious subject matter in any way, right? In this case, Victorian society and Victorian ideals and Victorian manners and etiquette rules. This is the serious content that's being imitated in this really like incongruous, disjunct, mortifying way that makes it comical. The way Algernon is always eating, you know, and sometimes like during scenes where they're talking about like fairly important, you know, sentimental, pithy material, he's suddenly like crunching on a cucumber or something. That can be one example of contributing a sort of burlesque effect to the scenario. It also, as a footnote, it reveals Algernon's character as a character of appetite, right? Algernon is kind of a rake. He's a man of appetite. He's really interested in young, pretty girls. And the fact that he's always eating is the sort of Victorian, safe, sneaky way of communicating this, right? His appetite for food in a codified way sort of reflects his sexual or romantic appetite, which is one of the reasons that Jack is so determined right up until the very end to keep him away from Cecily, because he's like, you're not the kind of man for my sweet young lady. Yes, I will post that definition of the burlesque. The question that I had about it for you to consider is what or who in this play is the butt of Oscar Wilde's burlesque humor? And there are many possible answers to that question. It depends how broadly you apply the question. Are you looking at the play as a whole? Are you looking at an individual scene or joke, an individual character? Lady Bracknell's whole interview with Jack about, you know, trying to decide whether he's a fit fiancé for Gwendolen. You know, do you smoke? Yes, I do, Lady Bracknell, I do smoke. I'm glad to hear it. I've always believed that a man should have an occupation, right? There are so many absurd lines exchanged in this interview, and it contributes a burlesque humor to what would otherwise be a very serious thing, which is a mother trying to determine the fitness of this man as a life partner for her daughter, and the methods by which she goes about that. That is plenty for now as a review session on the importance of being earnest. Please, 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 if you have questions about this material, doesn't matter whether you think they're silly basic questions or pithy questions. If there's anything that you want to discuss or want to know or would like guidance on, please send those questions to me either in the comments on these videos on Populi or by email or any way you choose. Thanks very much for your attention, and I look forward to chatting over our conclusion of the Victorian period through our major author novels, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte and The Importance of Being Earnest by Charles Dickens. We'll see you next week.